Welcome back. I see that you guys made it. Well, today's episode, another episode before part 2 that I figured I'd make, as we're waiting for USPS to deliver the LED lights so I can install them on the back of the bus. So today, you might have guessed it, it's about your conversion's water system. I have some innovations that I made and some information for you. Stick around. Where it all starts. You guessed it. That is the spigot. From the spigot, if you have an RV, this is the typical setup that you would usually see. You have your waste, your solid, and then you'll have a valve that comes from the spigot to the hose, and then the valve could switch between city and water fill. And what that means, when your water is provided from the city, that you are getting the water directly from the spigot, which is also providing the water pressure. Water fill is a tank that is located on your RV or conversion, and you usually fill that tank with water. When you connect up city, one precaution that you want to take is the water that is provided has way too much pressure. What you see right here in the picture, that is a water regulator. It regulates the PSI, which means the pressure that's coming from the spigot. Then also what you want to take into precaution is you don't know how good that water is in the particular location that you're at. It's always a good idea to have an RV water filter in place too. Where the journey begins on my bus, the spigot that I installed on the outside of the bus, which runs to a line to my water tank. So once I turn on the water spigot, the water then will travel into my water tank, which the one that I have provided here is a 40-gallon water tank. And when I turn on this valve right here, it ran to that spigot that you've seen on the side of the bus. Now I provide water pressure, and now it is filling up my tank. The speed in which your tank will fill up depends on the water pressure that is provided and the capacity of your water tank. The line that you see here in front of you is the cold line that runs from the tank to my water pump. So what we have here is my water pump. And you can see on the right hand side that is the water pump. On the left hand side is an accumulator. So how this water pump works When you turn on the faucet, activate a sensor, it will draw 12 volts to pump the water into the accumulator, and the accumulator, which is basically a bladder, will provide PSI, or water pressure, to your faucet. One of my innovations, as you can see underneath the water pump, that's a big piece of thick foam. I will show you what it actually does within this video. The water pump is creating pressure right now, but there's no vibration. So what the foam does is it prevents the vibration so it doesn't feel like you have an earthquake in your bus. And for those of you out there that are doing a conversion at the moment, I will show you what pump I'm using. I highly recommend it. I've used it for quite a while now and it has not failed me yet. C-Flow 55 series. It's a 12 volt DC, 5.5 gallons at 60 psi, which is more than you need for the particular amount of water pressure that you have in your bus. I will leave a link for it within the description if you are doing a conversion at the moment and want to use the same pump I'm using. Well, I thought long and hard for many months on how I wanted to design this water system. After living in an RV, there was many aspects to the water system I just did not like. Number one, the water tank is always located on the outside of your RV, which I'm planning on going to cold climates. And when you're in cold climates, your water will freeze, leaving you with no water, and that kind of defeats the purpose when you are trying to boondock. So within my planning, I thought of a few things that I can do to prevent those problems. Let me show you a few of them. Number one, I devised a plan on how to keep all my lines inside the bus. Number two, I wanted my water tank to be somewhere where it's going to be the warmest part in the bus. Number three, which came to me when I was installing my heat into the bus, the diesel heater. And what's right next to my diesel heater? The water tank. When the diesel heater is functioning or turned on, it keeps this whole compartment underneath my bed warm, which in turn makes sure that my water is not going to freeze when I'm in cold climates. Another thing that I installed, which is not an innovation, I think every conversion needs it, being that I don't trust the majority of the water that I put into my water tank. I installed a water purifier. I will also leave a link for this particular system. You want one that the filters are easily replaceable and cheap, but also provide really good drinking water. A few other notes that I would like to add. If you are doing a conversion, or just say you have an RV at the moment and you're upgrading your system, if you're going to install a water tank, make sure it's somewhere where it's going to be warm and not on the outside of the bus. Because in the winter, you usually connect a hose from the spigot to your city line. And let's just say after a few years, every single year, our line would freeze and we wouldn't have no water. That means no shower, means you can't do your dishes. That means you got no drinking water, unless you go buy it from the store, which is always good to have as a backup. One other thing I'd like to note, when you're designing your water system, you're trying to save money, and you have to buy a lot of resources when you are building your particular build. Design your system where it's on one side of your build, meaning you're using less PEX, and all your runs are super short. Your water pressure is always strong. When you're doing your water system, you don't need to spend a bunch of money on the shark bites. I know they're the easiest way to go, but you could save a lot of money just by using regular clamps that they sell at the store. Just like this. This is your regular PEX. A fitting or fittings. This is a cutoff tool for the pecs, and this tightens the clamps. It's as easy as this. You spread this tool out, it opens. There's nothing fancy, nothing special. You cut the amount of pipe that you want. You put your clamp on there. You put the fitting in, just as so. Align your clamp so it's over the barbs. Then you take this fancy tool, and you can see that there's a mouth. You want to make sure it's fully expanded. You put it on the clamp, like this, and you just crank. And look at that. You see that blue light? That's an indicator saying that that clamp is tightened to the correct torque. You release the tool. Now you have a perfect clamped fitting. That's just a quick DIY. In conclusion, you can have a beautiful kitchen in your bus or your RV or conversion. This is a house sink. That is a house faucet. And that is a water filtration system for a house. Don't let everyone tell you you can't do this and you can't do that. Your imagination can take you anywhere. You could build anything the way that you want. Find the stuff that you want. Just have fun doing it. So I hope that this video explained some things that you were looking for out there that you couldn't find. Keep on watching. I'll have more videos. I like to share the experiences I had and the help that I didn't get when I was building this particular bus. So I'm here to help everybody as well as learn new things myself. I will talk at you later. Peace.